Hi class. Okay, this is a mini lesson on retelling and summarizing two comprehension skills that come from or fall under the umbrella of inference. And what we're going to do is you're going to watch this mini lesson and I'm going to retell and summarize the story of Blackout by John Rocco. You should have watched that video. It was the first page of the attached documents, and a link to the YouTube video of it. Fantastic picture book, beautiful artwork, great story, kind of meaningful story. But the skills of retelling and summarization, retelling and summarizing, are represented on the other attached document by a train. And that's because retelling and summarizing have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Much like a train has the engine, the middle carts, and then the caboose at the end. When you are retelling me a story, you are starting the logical beginning. The logical beginning of a train is the engine. The logical beginning of the story, of retelling, is the beginning of the story. Then, with retelling, you're going to have lots of cars because you're going to have lots of details from the middle of the text. Lots of details. And then the end, the logical end of a train is caboose, so the logical end of a retelling is the end of the story. Now, summarization also has the same logical beginning, middle, and end in a good logical order, beginning, middle, end. But it's far shorter and more general. It's just a shorter train. The summarization train is shorter than the retelling train. A retelling has lots of details. You're going to say, and I'll show you this when we talk about Blackout. I'm going to show you how the difference between a retell and a difference between a summary. The main thing I want you to remember is a retell is longer because it has the beginning, lots of details in the middle, and the end. And a summary is shorter than a retell because it has a beginning, a few train cars of the details, and then the caboose at the end. Okay? So we are going to look at retelling. We're going to start with retelling, or me retelling the story of Blackout, and then we're going to do a summary of Blackout. Okay, so here is the retelling of Blackout. What I want you to pay attention to as I show you this skill, or model this skill to you, is the amount of, or how I start, how many details I use, and where I end. And then you're going to watch a summary and see just how much shorter the summary is compared to the retelling. Alright? So, to start off the retelling, I say, hey, it starts out, it was a normal summer night. These people were hanging out in their, what looks to be city area. The one boy wanted to spend time with everyone, but they were busy. They were way, way too busy. They even told him, said, much too busy. Because we're all, he's a little boy. He's trying to hang out with his family, but everybody's busy. He ends up hanging out alone, and then suddenly the lights go out all over the whole city, and nobody knows what to do. He calls for his parents. He says, "Mom, what's happening there?" And nothing was working. Nobody knew what to do. The whole city was dark. So they all came together as a family, and they hung out, and they played old school games like shadow puppets, and they busted out candles, and were playing board games by candlelight, and doing all these things that families kind of take for granted. Then it got too hot because the air conditioning stopped working, and they went up to the roof, and they were hanging out on the roof, and they saw all the stars that they normally don't see because of light pollution. And they saw all these other people had the same ideas, and they all came onto their roof, and they were all celebrating. And so they went back down, and they went onto the street because they heard music. And on the street, everybody was playing in car lights. They had flashlights out on the street. Everybody was having fun, even though all of the electricity was out. Everybody was still having fun. Then the lights came on, and everything went back to normal. But then they turned the light back off because they wanted to come together as a family. They go back and they are playing board games by candlelight because the family realizes that they want to play or spend time together like that. Okay, guys. Now, you just saw me do a retelling of Blackout by John Rocco. Did you notice the beginning? All the details in the middle, and then the end, the caboose. Now I'm going to do a summary. And remember, a summary is just a quicker version of a retelling. So you have the beginning, then the middle aren't quite as many details, and then there's the end. So we're going to look at this, or you're going to watch me I'm going to tell you a quick summary, and I want you to just pay attention to how much more different it is than the retelling. So my summary of Blackout. This boy wants to hang out with his family. Nobody has time for him. The lights go out. Nobody has anything to do because there's no power. Then he gets to start hanging out with his family. They do some things by candlelight. They get hot from lack of air conditioning. They go to the roof. They see the stars. Then they hear people having fun down on the streets. They go down on the streets. They see that. Then power comes back on, but they end up turning the lights off in the house because they were able to spend time together and they had fun without the lights on. Bam. That's a summary. Do you notice the difference between the two? That's what you're going to answer today in the seesaw activity. You're going to tell me what's the difference between a retelling and what's the difference between a summary.